Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sigera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from downtown Baton Rouge, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from our studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday. It means we're brought to you by Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Jacob back, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Plenty to do. We're working towards the weekend here on this Thursday. It's going to be heavy on guests in the second hour. Generally speaking, I don't do that all the time. It was just what worked for everybody that we're talking to today. So we'll talk to Luke Johnson from Saints Camp at 2 o'clock. We'll talk to Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, at 2:15. He'll be on the call tonight. Tonight he'll be there for the coaches show. Saturday night he'll be on the call of LSU and Louisiana Tech. And on the public address on Saturday night inside Tiger Stadium, the new PA address of Tiger Stadium in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, Dixon McMakin is going to be with us at 2:30. So fired up for all three of those conversations in the second hour. You get a lot of me in the first hour. I'm going to give you my NFL picks as that season gets underway coming up this evening. Josh Thompson, I thought, had some really good sound yesterday as we talked to four different players. So we'll hear from Josh Thompson at 1:30. Jay Johnson's getting a pay raise, so are two of his assistants. I'll briefly discuss that as well. But let's get things started the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Let's talk about wide receiver, shall we? This is a position group that I felt entering fall camp had a lot of options, a lot of skill sets, and one football. And I felt like entering fall camp, I kind of liked Nick Anderson as LSU's leading receiver. His skill set was different than everyone else's. He had massive production at Oklahoma. Figured he would be healthy, and that was my pick. I don't think it's a very good pick. And that was in July, and I have the right to change my mind over the course of time, and did, but I had Nick Anderson in July. After about 3 weeks of August, I said, okay, Chris Hilton's the guy. Chris Hilton looks great. He is a deep threat. We know this. He's going to make chunk plays. We know this. I also think he's really good in the intermediate game. They're going to get him the ball in the screen game as well. I think Chris Hilton's going to lead this team in receiving. And one of my bold predictions for the season was Chris Hilton having over 1,000 yards. And then we play one game, and now I'm like, well, Aaron Anderson's probably going to lead the team in receiving. We had a station survey 3 weeks ago, and I gave Chris Hilton as my answer for LSU's leading receiver. Aaron Anderson was the most selected player as he was LSU's leading returning receiver. But Aaron Anderson wasn't practicing a lot, and I felt like, well, the things that Aaron Anderson does really well, like you can let Barian Brown do some of that for sure. You can let Kyle Parker do some of that for sure. Like, I think they've got some options. Xavier Thomas can do some of those things. And I thought that Chris Hilton's skill set kind of separated himself a little bit, and maybe he was the guy. But the point of this timeline that I'm laying out is that there are just a lot of dudes they can get the football to. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch this play out. Now, catches and targets are a little bit fickle. They depend on coverages. They depend on play design. They depend on the read from Garrett Nussmeier. They depend on the offensive line holding up. Like, yeah, over time you can draw long conclusions from them, but in the moment, in a short sample size, they can tell some lies. What doesn't really lie is the rotation. Like, that's something that is intentional, is independent of anything that goes on during the play, doesn't have to account for penalties. It's just who the staff put out there. So I wanted to start with the rotation that we saw in the game on Saturday. LSU played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers in the game. This is according to Pro Football Focus. The leader in snap counts, and keep in mind LSU ran 75 offensive plays. The receiver that played the most snap counts, he didn't play all of them at receiver, but was out there the most, was out there for 44 of the 75 snaps. That's Xavier Thomas. Now, obviously, he was involved in the run game as well, but he was out there the most. If you would have told me that on August 1st, I would not have believed it. Second was Baryon Brown. Baryon Brown played 37 of the 75 snaps, so less than half. Only one wide receiver played more than half the snaps. That's Xavier Thomas, who played some running back. Very little, but some. Aaron Anderson was third. He was a leading receiver. He had 99 yards in the game, but he was third. He played 35 snaps. Then you've got Kyle Parker with 26, Nick Anderson with 24, Chris Hilton with 24, and then Destin Hill with 2 before he broke his hand. So they did rotate liberally at wide receiver. You were not seeing a situation where on 75 offensive snaps, on 66 of them, a wide receiver was out there. They varied that greatly. And the question I have about that, which we won't get an answer for another month really, is that something they're going to do early in the season? Or is that something they're going to do all season? The answer may come because they feel like they found their top 4 guys, or because they feel like they've got to get everybody involved. This is not apples to apples. I want to be very clear. This is not apples to apples because the rotation wasn't because of the same thing, but it is the same head coach and just 1 year removed. Last year at safety, LSU was rotating a lot early in the season. You were seeing Jordan Gilbert. You were seeing Sage Ryan. You were seeing Kylan Jackson. You were seeing Deshaun Spears. Major Burns. You were seeing a lot of different guys. And you saw that in the USC game, and you saw that against Nichols, and you saw it against UCLA. And eventually, you got to the bye week, and Ole Miss was next. And it was Major Burns, Jordan Gilbert, Sage Ryan. Kids, sit down. Now, they were looking for answers at safety last year. So, again, this is not apples to apples. But you saw a very clear decision that was made that here's who's going to play and here's who's not. And I'm curious if after a month of play this year, if you're not going to see this rotation. I mean, I don't know how much Destin Hill was going to play. I doubt he was going to play 24 snaps. But if you count the guys that played 24 of 75 snaps, that's 6 guys. And that does not include Trey'Dez Green, who does occupy a little bit of that same space on the field, right? So what do we think that number's going to be by the time you play Alabama in November? Do we think Aaron Anderson's going to play less than half the snaps in that game? Do you think Nick Anderson's going to play, I guess in this case, that's about a third of the snaps? I think it's interesting to monitor, and I think we find very little in the way of answers this week in Southeastern, because I think against Tech, because I think everybody's going to play. But I think once you get to Oxford, once South Carolina comes to town, I think you do get those answers. Let's look at targets. And again, I think that targets are a little bit deceiving in a small sample size because so much can vary them. But you look at targets among the players that had a reception. Aaron Anderson, 8. Baryon Brown, 6. Xavier Thomas, 2. Chris Hilton, 1. Kyle Parker, 1. Aaron Anderson clearly was a focal point in the passing game. Baryon Brown, clearly a focal point in the passing game. And then you go to Xavier Thomas with just 2, Chris Hilton with just 1, Kyle Parker with just 1. That's not intent to get those guys the ball a significant amount of time. Of course, Hilton's target was the 4th down. Xavier Thomas made a nice play over the middle when he came out over on a dig route. And then you saw Kyle Parker, who caught a ball over the middle when Nussmeier escaped the pocket, and it was on about his 3rd read going across the middle of the field. So the plays that were deliberately designed for players, it felt like Anderson and Brown were very much the 2 focal points. I think it's reasonable to expect that those 2 guys garner a large share of what LSU's trying to do in the passing game. I think that's reasonable. I'm a little bit surprised at Hilton's lack of production. still. But I think he would be next on my list. I don't know what Nick Anderson's role is going to be on this team. And again, I'm admitting I was dead wrong in July saying that's going to be LSU's number one receiver. I'd be flatline stunned if that's the case now. I still think when it comes to Nick Anderson that he brings something that none of the other receivers do. That's a 6'3 frame with that speed and ability to stretch the field. So I'm not here saying, well, this guy's just not very good. I don't think they're going to play him. I'm just basing it on practice when he never ran with the first team, the snaps in the first game where he's significantly less than a lot of the guys, and then the targets in this game where he had none. So this, again, I'm not drawing sweeping conclusions from one game. This is a game where it felt like the plan offensively in the passing game was going to be to keep things around the line of scrimmage. And to keep things around the line of scrimmage, that limits Clemson's pass rush against what could be a compromised offensive line. I think they planned to play the game that way. And if you look at the guys that got a lot of snaps, it's the guys who are going to play around the line of scrimmage in tight quarters. It's Xavier Thomas, Barryon Brown, Aaron Anderson, Kyle Parker. Those are your smaller, shiftier receivers who can play around the line. Chris Hilton's not one of your smaller, shiftier receivers. He's one of your faster receivers. Nick Anderson's not one of your shiftier receivers. So this makes sense when you look at the game plan LSU had. But I believe LSU's going to force the ball down the field this year. They've got a quarterback that likes to do it, and they got plenty of playmakers to do it. You probably need to do it when you trust your offensive line a little bit more entering the game. And I don't know how much they did back on Saturday. So I'll be monitoring this. I'll be watching this. I think it's fascinating. I think LSU has a lot of options. And I think you're going to see the options play out game to game based on the matchup and the skill sets they want to use. I think it's a luxury, not an obligation, to get a lot of guys on the field. We'll see. Again, you're not going to learn a lot against Louisiana Tech. But you will at the end of September and throughout the month of October. And I'm curious about it because I don't have a set-in-stone answer for you. But it'll be something that we monitor week to week here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Our Thursday shows brought to you by Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about what we heard at LSU player interviews. No, never mind. When we come back, I want to talk about Jay Johnson's raise. We're going to talk about player interviews at 1:30. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's an amazing experience to work with the folks at Genesis and to drive a Genesis. Their staff is top-notch. You're not going to feel pressured. You're not going to feel taken advantage of or upsold. You're just going to feel like they're helping you. You're a guest, not a customer at their dealership. The actual showroom and the store is state-of-the-art. No expense was spared. It's a phenomenal place to spend a little bit of time. But you don't have to go for your service. You don't have to go to get your car because they'll handle it valet. 3 years, complimentary valet maintenance when you purchase a new vehicle. If you'd like to test drive a car without going to the dealership, you can do that. They'll come to you. It's part of the customer service. You decide this is what I wanted to get into, awesome. They'll bring the car to you, e-contracts, delivery. You never set foot on the lot. If that's the way you prefer to live, it's kind of a delivery society these days. They can have you do that at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury experience at a reasonable price. That is the Genesis model. So get by and see them, airline at PQ, or don't. Just contact them at GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Go Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sigera Farms, premium Angus beef. Y'all purchase food every week, right? And a lot of times you're raising your eyebrow at the old receipt these days. I get it. I was talking to my guy Sean Sigera earlier today up at Sigera Farm, and he was talking to me about supply and demand in the country in regards to beef right now. We're talking about lowest inventories since the 1950s in the United States of America right now. And because of that, along with a demand that goes with beef, because everybody wants to eat beef, it's part of their diet, you're talking about prices up 20% in a lot of places, some places upwards of 26%. That's not going to be the case at Sigera Farms. They haven't touched their prices in 3 years. They have no plans to. If you're looking for consistent pricing, if you're looking for consistent beef, which, oh, by the way, is in the top 1% of the beef nationwide, Sigera Farms needs to be an option for you. It's just buying your beef a different way. You don't have to ask questions about where the beef came from or how the beef was handled. You don't have to ask questions about the quality of the beef. It's consistent. It speaks for itself every time you go see Sean on the farm. It's just buying beef a different way, and it's, quite frankly, a better way to do it. So go see Sean. It's just up the road 30 miles in Ethel from Baton Rouge. You can have some of the top 1% of the beef nationwide. You don't have to constantly worry about staring at the price tag. You go up there, you handle the pricing with Sean, you bring a load of beef back to the house, side, whole cow, you got it in the freezer. So when you want ground beef, you got it. When you want steaks, you got it. You want to make flank steak, skirt steak, chuck roast, you got it. It's just a different way to purchase your beef. If you've never considered it, check out my guy Sean Sigera and Sigera Farms. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. Wilson Alexander over at The Advocate reported earlier today that there are 3 pay bumps coming to the LSU baseball coaching staff that will be approved tomorrow by the LSU Board of Supervisors. Jay Johnson set to become the highest paid baseball coach in the country. His annual salary will be north of $3 million. In addition to Jay Johnson's salary increasing, you're talking about Josh Jordan, LSU's Director of Operations and Recruiting Coordinator, who will get a pay raise. That's going to go from about $400,000 to $450,000 over the next 3 seasons, and Josh Simpson, who has been integral in LSU's player development over there at LSU, will have his pay bumped about $50,000 to $255,000 through the 2027 season. I know that a lot of folks who follow baseball or who follow college sports aren't completely concerned with what the coaches are making. That doesn't necessarily impact you unless they leave. So the actual numbers of the salary are inconsequential to a lot of people that are listening. Some are curious and want to know, and you pass that along there. It's public university, public record. You can find that kind of stuff. But to me, this is just LSU committing further to the best baseball program in the country. Jay Johnson, since he has gotten to LSU, has cranked the machine back into full gear. You're all very well aware of that. They've won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. But what LSU is doing by committing these resources to these coaches is keeping them in Baton Rouge in some instances. Josh Jordan was the front runner for the Duke job. If you forgot all this that went on in June, Duke had a really nice year. They won the Athens Regional. Then they got beat in the Super on their home field by Cinderella. And at that point, Duke's head coach took the open job at Virginia when Virginia's head coach headed to Mississippi State. It's a lot of chain reactions, but Duke's job came open. And Josh Jordan worked at Duke for over a decade. And they wanted him to be the head coach there. And part of the reason, not the whole reason, there are things that Duke does to run its baseball program that LSU would never do. But part of it is he's very well paid to be at LSU. And he's not the pitching coach, and he's not the hitting coach, but he makes now $450,000 a year to recruit and to help with player development. He's integral in working with the catchers. There's a whole process, analytics that Jamie Tutko kind of spearheads over there that Jordan's very involved in. And he's a big piece to what LSU does. And an ACC program, fresh off of a super regional bid, where they were upset at the end of the game there on their home field, he didn't leave. And that's an awesome thing because y'all are well aware of this, I'm confident, that Jay Johnson's staff has been poached every year he's been at LSU. He has his first season at LSU. Tigers make a regional, played really well late in that season. Jason Kelly, the pitching coach, goes to Washington. Dan Fitzgerald, the recruiting coordinator, director of development, ends up at Kansas, where he was the Big 12 Coach of the Year last year. So you hire Wes Johnson. You win a national championship. He goes to Georgia as the head coach in Athens. Also, what I think fewer people were cognizant of at that point, Brent Herrick, who was the director of operations, took the head coaching job at Nichols. Terry Rooney was director of player development at LSU for a year. Paul Maneri took the South Carolina job, took Rooney with him. And, like, you've had to rebuild this coaching staff year over year. Now, Nate Yeske's back. Mark Wanek has always been with Jay Johnson. And you now are assured that Josh Jordan and Josh Simpson will be back. So is Jamie Tutko. So the band is staying together for another year, which is awesome because this is a machine in terms of player development. You look at the freshmen they've brought in that have made strides, unbelievable. You look at the transfers they brought in that have made strides, it's unbelievable. You know the names. But Cade Anderson's development, ridiculous over 2 years. Homegrown player. So was Anthony Ionson's. He was here for 10 months. You saw Kason Evans blossom into a star as a freshman. Just a first year at LSU. But in the same way, I think what you saw defensively from Luis Hernandez was sensational based on what I watched in the fall and the fact that he didn't really play catcher at his previous stop and he was playing at that level at the end of the year. Josh Jordan's a big part of that. And so it goes without saying to a point that, hey, like, keeping coaches around when you're winning is a good thing. And Jay Johnson's proven he can go hire the next guy. Nick Saban always had to hire the next guy. And so you have confidence that Jay Johnson can do that because he's running the show. But keeping the continuity in the coaching staff is a huge positive for the program. And they're replacing a lot off of last year's team. Actually, not as much as they were this time last year, but it's a lot. And having that group intact, taking care of them financially, and making sure this baseball program continues to hum is a big, big deal. Because no doubt, teams are going to continue, and baseball programs are going to continue to look to LSU to hire their next coach. It's proven successful in too many places. Georgia's program is much better under Wes Johnson than it was previous to that. Much better. They've been in the national seed picture the last 2 years. They hadn't gotten to Omaha, but week in and weekend out, they've been better. Kansas is way better than they were before Dan Fitzgerald got there. Now, Jason Kelly left Washington and became the head pitching coach at Texas A&M, but there is something in Jay Johnson's work that translates to the next guy. And the same way that Alabama was a tree that everybody wanted to pick off for a decade and a half, that's going to be the case in Baton Rouge. So it's great to see LSU, commit to Jay Johnson, obviously, but that's an obvious one. Everyone is aware that Jay Johnson needs to be in Baton Rouge, and that's got to be a long-term deal. Making him the highest paid coach is a no-brainer over Tony Vitello and anybody else. He's the best. But I want to take an opportunity to look at the assistants that are getting a pay raise and go, keep those guys around too. Because whatever they're doing over there at the box right now is working. So keep all those wheels in motion as long as you possibly can. We know that LSU commits to baseball. We know that LSU prioritizes baseball. It does it in a number of ways, but this is just one of them, paying coaches. You got to make sure that happens. So I was thrilled to see Wilson Alexander's report in The Advocate. You can read about it at theadvocate.com. I've got a story up on LouisianaSports.net that goes into the assistants a little bit more deeply. Wilson's got the terms of the contract a little bit more closely monitored. And you can check out when that goes finalized at the Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow when they rubber stamp all of these things. Generally speaking, when things get to the point of the Board of Supervisors, it just gets banged home with the gavel. So that's what we anticipate happening in tomorrow's meeting. So great news for Jay Johnson, Josh Simpson, and Josh Jordan over there with LSU baseball. It's a Jay Johnson, Josh Jordan, Josh Simpson. It's a lot of J's over there, but they're all getting paid pretty well. So good news for all of them. All right, we heard from another Jay, Josh Thompson, who's on LSU's offensive line, their right guard. I thought some of the things he had to say yesterday were really, really interesting, and so we'll hear some of the sound from that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Love Swing Easy Golf Club. You're going to see me there a lot. You should be there a lot. It's a great place to hang out. They've got comfortable, modern seating, big television that you can control. You want to watch football game tonight, you want to watch football on Sunday, you want to watch football on Saturday, do so in a climate-controlled area with the buddies and then play on the golf simulator. I love the functionality of the golf simulator with some of the greatest courses in the world. Play St. Andrews. You can play Pebble Beach. You can play Bethpage Black or TPC Sawgrass. You can play TPC New Orleans. It's loaded up on the simulator. And hit those shots. Bring your clubs. Bring some beers. And just have a good time hanging out. There are memberships that are available. You can get those for corporate or for yourself. If you want to work on your game, you can do that there as well. But focus on the hanging out part because the weekend's coming up. It is an awesome place to go hit some golf shots, have a couple cold beers, hang out with the friends. Go see them. Segan, right there at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. Check it out online at swingeasygcbr.com. swingeasygcbr.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool The crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
All right, the National Football League will crank things up this evening. It'll be the Eagles and the Cowboys. I didn't look this up at all. Jacob Hester said this morning that it's on Peacock. It may be, it may not be. If it's not, it's his fault. If it is, I heard it from him. You can watch it there. I have no idea.
It is.
Great to hear. It's on Peacock. Eagles and the Cowboys from the link up there in Philly. So I'll give you my NFL picks at the end of the hour. We'll kind of slam them in there. I'm not going to spend a ton of time breaking down every team in the NFL. Just going to give you some division picks and a Super Bowl pick before they crank things up on this Thursday evening. But Josh Thompson met with the media yesterday. 4 LSU Tigers did so. It was Josh Thompson. It was Mansour Delane. It was Caden Durham. And it was somebody else on defense. West Weeks was the other player that met with the media. So I've got an interesting story up right now on the Louisiana Sports.net on the defense and how those guys kind of felt like they played in the opener. Going to have a column up tomorrow about the team's mindset entering a non-conference game after a monster opener. So I'll have that on the website tomorrow. But Thompson talked about a number of different things, and I thought had a lot of interesting things to say. Let's start with what they saw on the tape when they watched it as an offensive line against a really, really good defensive line from Clemson.
I think a lot of it was just little technique things, right? You know, crossing over, 2 gaps, you know, whatever it was. It's individualized from guy to guy, right? There's certain things that everybody can work on, everyone needs to work on, and you know, having those 2 or 3 things in a week, right? Like, you know, something Coach Sloan said to us earlier this week, and I thought it was great. You know, every week you want to pick 2 to 3 things. 2 to 3 things that you can really, really focus on in practice. And whatever it may be, I mean, you're not going to lose doing those 2 or 3 things because that's where you need to grow. And so I think that's what's been, you know, really big for us going forward.
I thought it was a good effort from the offensive line. The Pro Football Focus grades are a little bit rough in the run game, and the tackles weren't great, it says, in the passing game. But they held up, and LSU's game plan was such that they weren't exposed and asked to do too much. But I asked Josh Thompson, like, how important is the run game to what y'all are trying to do on offense? Because it's something we talked about all August long. It's something that's been a focal point around here since last year where they couldn't run the ball. And I just wanted to get a sense from one of the guys in the trenches there, like how important it is for them to find a way to establish that presence.
It's huge. Our mentality as an offensive line is we want to establish that run. Like, we want to be physical, we want to be dominant in the run game, and, you know, we want to impose our will. Like, that's our focal point. That's something that we really want to stick on, you know, throughout the course of the season. because that opens up things for the pass game. That makes it easier for us. That makes it easier for the receivers. That just helps our offense in general. But it also sets a tone for us, as a unit, as an offensive line, and as an offense.
That to me is said just like he covers the team. Like that is exactly what we've been preaching since August 1. Like, they may not lead the country in rushing, but if they can set the tone and they can open some lanes and make teams have to respect that running game, what they've got at quarterback, what they've got at receiver is just going to take over games against most defenses. So that's spoken exactly like what the fans have said, what the media has said, and that's a guy who's in the wars and knows exactly what is going on there. Now, they didn't run the ball great in August. I said that. Everyone who's out there said that. It was tough, but we got a glimpse into what they were working against on Saturday because you saw that Clemson ran the ball 20 times for 31 yards. So maybe, just maybe, they are okay at run blocking. They were just running up against a buzzsaw. And I asked Josh Thompson about that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw, they're a phenomenal defense, right? And iron sharpens iron. It's a tale as old as time. I think if you look at us from spring to now, I mean, you can see the growth. And it's one of the coolest things, right? There's so much talent in this room, this offensive line room. And, the track that we're on and our ability to keep growing with that focus, I mean, I think it's great. And I think that defense is a really big part of, why we've been able to improve so much.
I think personally that working against that defense for a month got LSU's offense ready for Saturday. I said that I was hopeful of that last week. I wrote about it, LouisianaSports.net, and I think it manifested because you saw how good the defense was, and I think LSU was prepared for how good Clemson's defense was. And again, I think Clemson's defense is good. I really do. I think Peter Woods is a star. I think TJ Parker is a problem. I think Woodaz at running back is really a linebacker is really tough. I think Terrell is one of the better corners in the ACC. Like, I think they're good, and I thought LSU was ready for it. Now, shifting a little bit, this is Josh Thompson talking about his journey to LSU from the spring and to now and what kind of his goals are. But we start with coming in after his semester was over and getting ready for spring ball, and this is what he had to say about that.
Obviously, I was dual enrolled, and that was rough. But I graduated, I got in, and it was really great. The coaching staff, Adam Kleffner, Coach Brad, I mean, those guys were really, really great in helping me pick up that offense super quickly, and I think I picked up most of it, before the spring was over. I think it was, honestly, I did not have too much trouble picking up the offense. I think it was a very smooth process, and obviously there were still things to learn and still things to grow on, and I'm still learning every single day. But from that initial aspect of getting getting everything conceptually, one of the greatest things about, this is the third offense I've had to learn, in college, and you learn that it's all the same concepts with different names. That's what it is.
So he's up to speed, and that was a question because he comes in, like, when LSU started spring ball last year, Josh Thompson was enrolled at Northwestern taking classes. Like, he couldn't be at Baton Rouge because Northwestern's on the quarter system, and he was late arriving. He missed like a week and a half of LSU spring workouts. And so he had to come in and catch it on the fly. Like, yes, they are in the spring, they're going to be able to slow some things down for you, but they're not going to compromise the entire offensive installation just because this one guy is 2 weeks late. Like, they're going to keep rolling, and he's just going to have to catch up very quickly. And it sounds like he did that, which is, a big credit to him. The question is, why LSU? Josh Thompson had options. He's a Big Ten starter in Northwestern, had some quality PFF grades against Ohio State and Michigan, and you had options. And the question is, why would you go to LSU?
Coach Davis, he said to me that he was going to help me become an NFL player and that we were going to go win a national championship. And those were two things that I wanted more than anything, right? I mean, that's my goal. That's been my goal since I was a kid. And that national championship more than anything is, I mean, just to even picture it, it's got to be the coolest thing ever. And, that's something that I want to touch.
That's saying a lot. I mean, that is saying a lot. And I think you never know what you're going to get in player interviews. You never know who's comfortable in front of the mic and who's not. Trust me, nobody was putting a microphone in front of my face when I was 19, 20, 21 years old. Nobody. So it's a different thing than a lot of folks haven't dealt with. You never know who's going to be coachable from the sense that they're just going to give you cliche after cliche. Garrett Nussmeier is very obviously a very bright guy. He's a very personable guy. You see him cutting up with his teammates. You see him dancing on the field. You see he's obviously a very personal guy, well adjusted. He's engaged to be married, like he's a fifth-year college player. He gets in front of the microphone. You don't get anything. You just don't. I'm thrilled he's the quarterback of my football team. When he talks, I barely can listen. You never know when that's going to happen too. But you never know when somebody's going to say something that is emotionally driven. And in that case, like, Josh Thompson's not afraid to sit there and say, I want to win the national championship. And some schools, some players, some teams are hesitant to do that. And I get the sense that everybody on that team is centrally focused on doing the things that are necessary to get to that ultimate goal. And while that ultimate goal is still there, and it very much is for this team, you get such a committed workforce, you get such a unified team, such a positive vibe. All that stuff is so good. I think about the 2023 LSU baseball team, where Jay Johnson has told the story a lot. Like, sat him down, first day of practice, like, what do y'all want to do? What do y'all want to be? Dylan Cruz stood up and said, I want to win the national championship. He's like, okay, do you want to do that? Like, here's what we have to do. And there are some coaches that don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I very seriously doubt that Nick Saban at any point in a August team meeting started talking about winning national championships. But I do know that there are some programs that have discussions about that. And, like, you can talk to these guys and they'll tell you that it's 1-0 every week. And I've got a column coming up. I'll spoil the column for you a little bit on LouisianaSports.net, and I'll probably talk about it on tomorrow's show. I'm going to write about what I heard from the players yesterday about preparing for week 2. It's not Clemson, it's Louisiana Tech. And those are two very different things. And the answers they gave were pretty stout. It was, I don't care who we're playing. We got a lot of work to do. And whoever is playing us next, like, it's their problem. Like, I think that the focus this team has every week and going 1-0 and the maturity, because you brought in so many older players from the transfer portal who are not wide-eyed and who've been through the wars and have won a lot of games and have lost a lot of games and know that this is their last chance, whether that's to get on an NFL draft board or to win a national championship or to do whatever, play in the playoff. The maturity level on this roster, I think, is pretty strong. And in the same way, and I talked yesterday to Wes Weeks about this, and this will be a quote that I put in my column for tomorrow. He said last year they probably didn't bring a lot of energy against Nicholls because you were just gone on the road, high-profile opener, Sunday night, Las Vegas, LSU, USC, and you blew a lead late. So you come back and you're playing an FCS school in Nicholls, and, like, where's your motivation? Where's your commitment level? Where's your energy? And it wasn't good enough. And because of that, you were in a dogfight with Nicholls late in the second quarter. You were giving up 65-yard touchdown runs to some running back named Guggenheim. Like, that's the energy level that you got from LSU in week 2. And it didn't matter because they were playing Nicholls. And they got hot, and they beat South Carolina after falling down 17-0, and they beat Ole Miss in a crazy overtime game. There was a ton of drama. And it wasn't like it derailed the whole season. But I think it, may have spoken to the fabric of the team that they couldn't regroup well enough. And we'll see what happens to this team if and when they lose their first game. But right now, after that win, the quotes I got yesterday suggest these guys are going to be locked in. They're going to be ready to roll. And I think Josh Thompson's a really big part of that as a first-year player in LSU on the offensive front. I liked what I heard from the players yesterday. I'll write about it on tomorrow's show. That's Josh Thompson sound from yesterday. Got one segment left to go on this Thursday. We're brought to you by Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'll give you my NFL picks when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Tell you about it every single Thursday. If you're looking for the highest quality in beef, you can find it just outside of Baton Rouge. It's right there in Ethel, 30-minute drive. We had burgers from Sigera Farms back on Sunday. Came home, got them out, got the seasoning on them, threw them on the grill. And once again, Alyssa, who loves burgers, like, these are the best burgers you have made. We've had them twice now. since Sean dropped off some of the product at the house, and it is a game changer to have that kind of beef on hand in the refrigerator. You know the quality can be up and down when you head and grab your stuff for the week to cook at home. Make sure that doesn't happen. Get the highest quality, an amazing consistency, and prime Angus beef from my friends at Sigera Farms. I give you Sean's cell phone number every single week. Just give him a call. Say, I'd like to come out to the farm and check some things out. He would love to have you up there. Sean's phone number, 225, obviously, because they're right here in Baton Rouge, 719-1723. 719-1723. Give him a call. Say, hey, I'm not happy with the pricing. I'm not happy with the quality of what I buy week in, week out. I'd like to change things up. Check out Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
closing out hour number 1 here. We got a lot of discussions to have in hour number 2. We'll chat coming up in 10 minutes with Luke Johnson from Saints Camp. Chris Blair going to be with us 2:15. Dixon McMakin, new PA voice of Tiger Stadium in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center at 2:30. So a lot of guests coming your way in the second hour. But I wanted to get my NFL picks on the record. We'll save these in the old doc so I can look like an idiot come January. But I'll throw them out there here on this 4th of September. In the NFC North, give me the Packers. I like Jordan Love. I like Josh Jacobs a lot. Their offensive line needs to play a little bit better, but I think the Lions losing 2 coordinators could take a step back there. So I will take the Packers in the NFC North. In the NFC South, I'll take the Bucs. Chalky, but I think they're clearly the best organization going in that division right now. So give me Tampa in the South. In the East, I'm not going to go against Philly. I love Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, but I'm going to go with Philly. That roster is just awesome. The offensive line is awesome. The quarterback knows what he's doing. Defense is great. Give me the Eagles in the NFC East. In the NFC West, I'll take the Rams. I like the coach. The quarterback is old, and he's a little banged up, but I think that's an organization that knows what they're doing as well. They draft extremely well, so I will take the Rams in the West as the wild cards. I will take the Lions. I will take the Commanders, and I will take the 49ers making the playoffs. So the NFC: Packers, Bucks, Eagles, Rams, Lions, Commanders, and 49ers. Going over to the AFC in the North, I don't trust the Bengals defense still. Even with Hendrickson re-signed, he was on the team last year, and they weren't any good on defense, so I can't trust them too much. I'll take the Ravens in the AFC North. In the AFC South, I love what the Texans are. I love what DeMeco Ryans is. I think that they've got a potential star at quarterback there. Nico Collins has been as good a receiver as there is that nobody really talks about. So I'll take the Texans in the South. I'll take the Bills in the AFC East. I think that's very chalky as well. And give me the Sean Payton Broncos in the AFC West. I realize that's ridiculous to pick against Mahomes and the Chiefs. That defense is still going to be awesome, but eventually they're not going to win the division. People said that, I guess, about Brady and didn't lose it for a while. Give me the Broncos to win the AFC West. I'll take the Bengals, Chiefs, and Chargers as the wild card teams in the AFC. So that's Ravens, Texans, Bills, and Broncos as the division winners. Bengals, Chiefs, and Chargers as the wild card teams. In the Super Bowl, give me the Ravens to win the Super Bowl over the Packers from the NFC. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it from an NFL perspective. I don't know that any of that is earth-shattering outside of maybe the Chiefs not winning their division, but that's what I'm looking at. Beck, how dumb is that collection of selections?
Well, it doesn't sound dumb right now, but I'm sure there will be plenty of them that will be by the end of the season. Yeah, the Chiefs, it's actually not that far-fetched to me. I mean, Patrick Mahomes...
They won every game by 3 last year.
Yeah, I would assume that Patrick Mahomes is probably a little better than he was last year, but Travis Kelce is probably old. He's probably had his. He's probably not going to have any more amazing seasons. Like last year is probably going to be the norm as far as he goes. So, and then Rashee Rice is out for 6 weeks. So yeah, I mean I can see the Chiefs not winning the division.
Think I got them all right?
No, I don't think so.
How do you feel about the Commanders? A lot of my buddies think the Commanders are going to take a slide here. They were winning a lot. They were like the Chiefs, and they were losing. They were winning every one-score game last year.
They're going to have a very tough schedule as compared to last year. Last year they played a lot of really bad quarterbacks. This year they're going to have to play some good quarterbacks. So yeah, I don't see them winning as many games as they did last year.
How are we feeling about the Bengals? Not going to start 1-4?
I mean, at this point. The last few seasons, just for some reason, it just keeps happening. Joe Burrow keeps getting off the slow starts, so I don't know. I think your bias is coming out there for the Bengals.
I mean, look, I don't trust Rodgers and the Steelers. I certainly don't trust the Browns. And then you look at the AFC teams that I might be doubting, like Miami. Do I feel like they're going to be great?
I think the Ravens are going to be really good.
I always like the Ravens just because it's a safe thing to always like the Ravens.
Yeah, it is.
And the Packers pick is a little bit bold. It's not just a Michael Parsons thing. He certainly helps. But I think Love is good. I think LaFleur is good. I have Josh Jacobs on the old fantasy team, so I'm going to need a lot of rushing yards from that outfit.
That'll be nice.
But Eagles are the chalk. And would it surprise me if they were in the Super Bowl? No. They're an amazing organization with a quarterback and an offensive line that just functions really, really well. And a lot of weapons on that team as well. I didn't even mention Saquon Barkley, which is probably very stupid of me not to mention. But
it is pretty stupid.
That's what I'll go with from an NFC perspective in the Super Bowl. So those are NFL picks. We'll save them at the dock, and will make fun of me coming up in January. All right, busy first hour. We talked a lot about LSU football to start the show. Wide receiver rotation. Talked about Josh Thompson, this offensive line. You can catch those segments at Hunt on LSU. LSU baseball coaches getting a raise. That's a good thing for them. In the second hour, 3 straight guests. Luke Johnson on the Saints. Chris Blair talking Tigers. Coaches show coming up tonight. And Dixon McMakin making his Tiger Stadium PA debut on Saturday. Talk about all that. Hour 2.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It all starts tonight in Philadelphia. The 2025 NFL season kicks off with the Super Bowl champion Eagles hosting the NFC East rival Cowboys. A week after Dallas traded star edge rusher Micah Parsons to the Packers, Cowboys have lost 3 of the previous 5 matchups and are a 7.5-point underdog tonight. So how do they pull off the upset? All City DLLS Sports and longtime Cowboys reporter Clarence Hill.
Can they stop the running game? Can they get to the quarterback without Micah Parsons? Can they defend against Devontae Smith and, A.J. Brown on the outside? Those are the questions, but if they're going to win this game, they're going to somehow find a way to stop the run, make certainly Jalen Hurts throw the ball and try to beat it via pass, and certainly put up points on offense.
Clarence Hill on Clinton and Friends. Broncos made outside linebacker Nick Bonito the highest paid non-quarterback in franchise history. Sides agreed on a 4-year, $106 million extension, $70 million guaranteed. Jets starting right guard Elijah Vera Tucker will miss the entire 2025 season due to a torn triceps.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday as Aaron Rodgers gets ready to take on his former team. I'll tell you why Week 1 is a must-win for Rodgers and the Steelers. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from downtown Baton Rouge, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms Premium Angus Beef, working towards the weekend. We'll get you there one way or another. Chris Blair in about 15 minutes. It'll be the Brian Kelly Show from TJ Ribs tonight. Dixon McMakin, public address announcer at LSU, just announced today by the school. He'll be with us in 30 minutes after some sound checks inside Tiger Stadium. So we'll talk to Dixon, dear friend of mine, at 2:30 this afternoon. Luke Johnson covers the Saints for The Advocate and NOLA.com. He's going to be with us here shortly as the Saints get their season underway coming up at noon on Sunday. It'll be Saints and Cardinals from the Dome. Cardinals about a 6.5-point favorite here. And, it's an interesting situation here with the vibes around New Orleans, with the excitement of a season, and then the anticipation that it might not be a great season. Like, usually everybody's full of optimism at this point in the calendar. And I remember talking to Jeremy Hill about this. He played on some good teams. He played on some not good teams. And I said, hey, like, when you played on a not good team, did they think that you were going to win the Super Bowl in August? He was like, yes, absolutely. And so I'm curious if that's the vibe. I don't know. And certainly Luke can't speak directly to that. All he can do is ask, and you're going to get some coach speak when you ask those questions. But I think there are a lot of people that are excited to watch the Saints play on Sunday, and we'll see how it all shakes out in the season opener inside the Dome. Luke joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Our pleasure. Let's talk injuries first. Chase Young, a little bit new this week. Obviously, you don't have all the information, but what are the prospects that he can suit up on Sunday?
I'm feeling less and less good about it as the week goes on. It was kind of fishy yesterday when Kellen Moore said he was limited, because we saw him out there at practice yesterday, and then obviously that injury happened in practice. Did not see him out there today. So, I feel less good about his chances to go this weekend, which sucks because he's looked awesome in this defense so far. Like, he looks like a difference maker in this defense. And obviously, like, we felt that way about Chase before in the past. But like, I really thought, like, he's potentially in line for a true breakout season, like the kind of season to deliver on his potential. So if he can't go in week 1, that just kind of sucks, because it was a fun story all summer.
Well, let's talk about, if he can't go, like, what that looks like. Obviously, you've got Granderson and Cam Jordan. Is that kind of the lion's share of the reps to those two?
Yeah, I would think those two, probably a lot of Chris Rumpf, who is they signed him this offseason to kind of a prove-it deal. He was with Brandon Staley with the LA Chargers. Another guy who was, dealt with injuries for a lot of his career. He's healthy. He's looked pretty good at times. And maybe they call up Fadil Diggs, their 7th round draft pick, out of Syracuse who was didn't make the 53, but he's on the practice squad. So they have some guys, but none of those guys I think are Chase Young. I think he's like truly a difference maker. So that's going to be a big loss, especially assuming he can't go. Obviously we don't know that for sure yet, but it'd be a big loss considering who they're lining up against this week. Like Kyler Murray is one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL who really give guys problems. You'd like to have the big athlete out there on the edge.
Yeah, football guys, football lifers will just go, well, next man up. And I get that. The next man literally has to step up and play, but in a lot of cases, the next man isn't as good as the guy that just went down. So we'll see what the case is for Chase Young. As far as Trevor Penning goes, it's been very quiet camp for him with the injury. What can you tell us about the latest on him and what his prospects could be to go?
Yeah, I think he's making good progress. He's out of the walking boot. So, if you remember when he had the turf toe injury in his rookie season, I mean, he lost almost the entire season because of that. This is not that kind of injury. He was in he had to have surgery in that rookie season. He was on one of those little scooters where his leg had to be up. This wasn't the case this time. So I still don't think he'll be ready to go week 1. But I imagine next week might be a possibility for him.
Anything else from an injury perspective that's pressing this late in the week?
No, I don't think so. I think I feel pretty good about Alontae Taylor being able to go, which, if you're not going to have Chase Young, I think Alontae Taylor's a really important player to have. They might blitz him 15 times this game. He's a really, really good player in that specific area. And I think, just having somebody who can finish, as a blitzer, I think is a really big positive for this team. So that's that to me. He looks very much like he's in line to play, and that's probably the second biggest news outside of the Chase Young one.
What is going to be the goal of Brandon Staley's defense? One, this week, because that's obviously we're in a game week now, but big picture, I feel like the offense is a lot of question marks because the guy with the football is a question mark at quarterback. With the defense, you got NFL guys out there. What are they trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think I actually feel pretty good about this defense. We just talked about this earlier this week with our NOLA.com crew. I don't think they're going to be a top half of the league defense. I think that's. I could totally see a world where that happens, but I'm not predicting that. But I do think they'll be much better than last year. I think he got some guys in what really in modern football, I think the most important part of the field is the spine of the defense, right? Your defensive interior, your linebackers, your safeties. Obviously you want good players on the edges. You want good corners, you want good pass rushers. But if you're getting gashed for 5, 6, 7 yards a pop on the ground, those guys don't matter as much. They have Devon Godshaw, who I think is going to be a huge addition for this team, even if he only plays 35, 40, 45% of the snaps, something like that. Just on rundowns, he's going to be so valuable for him. I think the scheme fits the linebackers really well. And the two safeties they have, I think both look really good in training camp. They're both really intelligent players, and they complement each other really well. So I think they'll have intelligence on the back end. They'll have good players in the back end with the two safeties and Julian Blackman and Justin Reed. We already know what Demario Davis and Pete Werner are. I think we'll see more of Demario as a blitzer this year, which is a good thing. And then Devon Godshaw really being kind of the fulcrum around which the whole run defense, is balanced. And if they can just get from 31st in the NFL in run defense to 15th, top half of the league in run defense, they'll be able to set themselves up for a lot more manageable passing downs where their pass rushers and the blitz concepts that Brandon Staley runs are going to deliver a little bit more. So I really am kind of bullish on this defense. At least taking a big step forward from last year. I don't know if it's going to matter because of the offense. And they might be put in some bad time of possession situations where they're just on the field way too much. But I do think it's going to look a lot better this year.
What worries you about the Cardinals offensively, other than Kyler Murray running around? Is that it?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I'm not super worried about their receivers. Marvin Harrison might take a big year 2 jump and just be as awesome as everybody expected him to be as a rookie, and that might be something that we just don't know yet, right? But they have one of the best 3 tight ends in football right now, McBride. He's really, really, really good. He's going to get a lion's share of their targets. And I think they've got a good running game. James Cook had a really good year for him last year. Kyler's obviously part of the running game. They lost their run game coordinator from last year. He's in Dallas now. That might be a big issue for them. But I think they do some creative stuff, and they're tough to stop. So, like, we're going to get a good sense this week of just how much the Saints' run defense has improved, if at all. I think they have. We'll see this week.
All right, well, I've buried the lead long enough. I guess we can get to it at the end here. What do you expect Spencer Rattler to look appreciably different in the game on Sunday than he did last year?
Yes, I do. I think there's a couple parts that go into that. Like, I think the scheme last year, tried to make things easy for Spencer, but it also just, it really diminished his opportunities. There was a lot of cutting the field in half, a lot of rollouts, a lot of boots, a lot of play actions designed to go deep. So I think this is more of a kind of diverse scheme that will help him out in that respect. And then, he's not going to be playing with a bunch of backups, right? He's going to have Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. He's going to have Juwan Johnson and Alvin Kamara. He's going to have at least 4 of his regular starting offensive linemen out there. We're going to get a better sense of who he is as a player. I think he's going to look a lot better than he did last year. I don't know if that means he's going to look good, but I don't think he's going to be the guy who had these really dramatic first half, second half splits. Where they schemed some stuff early in the game, they couldn't catch up with it later on, and he was just was a bad player in the second half of games last year. I think we'll see some improvement. I just don't know if it's going to be enough for him to just really hold on to the job. They probably at some point got to get a look at Tyler Shuck this year. So I think the only way we don't see that happen is if Spencer Rattler is really, really, really good. Obviously somebody they'd want to build around. So we'll see. He's going to get his chance. I'm interested to see what it looks like because I'll tell you one thing about Spencer Rattler is that he has no lack of belief in himself. He thinks he's going to go out there and get the job done, and we'll see what he does.
How do you think it looks on Sunday?
For the whole team?
Yeah.
I think the 6.5 point line is a little bit much. It wouldn't surprise me if the Saints play pretty feisty, especially defensively. And if Kellen Moore has some wrinkles that they just aren't expecting because they don't know what it looks like with this group of personnel. But I don't think they're going to get the win. I think I'll probably pick something like Cardinals, 21 to 18 or 17, something like that.
We shall see. Bring a jacket to the Dome, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds good, buddy. See ya.
Luke Johnson with The Advocate, NOLA.com, down there in New Orleans, covering the black and gold, by Luke Johnson on Twitter. If you'd like to read his stuff, he'll be all over it come Sunday in the Dome. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, will be on the Brian Kelly Show tonight on the call for you on Saturday night in Death Valley. We'll talk to Chris, fresh back from Clemson, on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Tell you about America's best warranty every single day because it's worth knowing about. Powertrain warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. Bumper-to-bumper new vehicle warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles. That is industry leading. Enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, and then that complimentary scheduled maintenance, which is such an awesome deal, especially when you consider the valet component. They will handle all the maintenance of your vehicle for those first 3 years, 36,000 miles. Just let them do it. They'll bring you a loaner while they handle it so you don't miss a beat on your day. It's just part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Most of you have not gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis, and that's okay. But you can change it when you're next in the market for a vehicle. If that's next month, if that's next year. Get on by and see them at Airline at PQ. They're across from Women's Hospital. Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find the entire inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
Tiger Stadium going to sound a little different this fall. New PA voice of Death Valley and the PMAC, Dixon McMakin, will be along here in 15 minutes to chat with us. On the radio, still going to sound the same, though. That'll be Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers. Chris was on the call for LSU and Clemson last weekend. Big win for the Tigers. Excited to talk to Chris about that. And then we'll also chat with him about the Brian Kelly Show, which cranks back up tonight for another edition. If you're looking for something to do this evening, want to check out TJ Ribs, Brian Kelly Show, you can absolutely do that. They'll be there. Show starts up at 6 o'clock. Brian Kelly gets off the practice field sometime a little bit after 5, meets with the assembled media, gives a little bit of an update there. Then he hits the road over to TJ Ribs, where he meets up with Chris. And from 7 to 8, they are on the air for the Brian Kelly Show, so you won't want to miss that. Very excited for the ball game on Saturday night, 6:30 kickoff. That means you can find myself, Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite on the air about 4:30. We'll lead you up to about 6. That's when we hand off to the broadcast team of Gordy Rush, Jacob Hester, and the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Did we not have a lot of fun Saturday? It seemed like it had been a while, but everybody was in a great mood. Saturday, Sunday, and here we are Thursday, and everybody's got a smile on their face.
I was a happy dude on the post-game show. That was those were getting to be a drag, those 0-1 post-game shows. There's just not a lot of juice in the building, but there was plenty on Saturday night, and I'm sure there was plenty of juice there in Memorial Stadium in Clemson. You were on hand. What was the environment like that LSU walked into?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hostile environment. It's certainly one of the best in the ACC. I mean, it's I think I mentioned it last week. It's going to be a sellout. It's a huge game for them, just as it was for LSU. But it's not something that this team and the returning players and those who have played in the SEC don't deal with every single week. Doesn't mean that it can't affect you. It just means it's not something new. And I thought LSU handled it really well. I think they got much better as the second half went along, but I don't know that that had anything to do with the atmosphere as much as it was the first game of the year. I could sense very quickly about towards halftime, even though they led 10-3, there was more of a murmur. Where we were located in our broadcast booth is literally right behind the heads of fans in the lower bowl. And there was a lot of discussion. And then as the second half wore on, you started to see some people looking at each other, and you could tell there was some nerves. So I thought LSU performed well in that type of atmosphere, but that didn't really surprise me all that much. I was more concerned about the X's and O's and the execution. And as I said, I thought the offense looked really good, when Garrett came in and got going with Aaron Anderson and completed 11 in a row and really started to get into rhythm. And then defensively, I thought the play for me, Hun, and I'm sure you've talked about it, the first drive for Clemson after LSU punted, 3rd and 8, I believe it was, and Blake Baker, what is he going to dial up? He dials up the corner blitz with P.J. Woodland. And I remember just seeing that play and then thinking to myself, when is the last time I saw a corner blitz or a safety blitz look that good by LSU? And that's when I thought, the hatchet's been thrown down. This is what we're about, and this is who we are. And as it turned out, that was the type of aggressive nature we saw all night long, and really took away just about anything Clemson wanted to do. They 31 yards rushing, longest rush from the line of scrimmage, I think, was 7 yards. And the pass plays were broken up. I mean, it was, again, I know it was 17-10, but I don't buy into that. I think that you're always going to have an offense that's kind of got to get going. That's not surprising. The fact that defense held them to 31 yards rushing, a miserable night throwing the football for Cade Klubnik, who was on his back foot and running most of the evening, and you hold them to 10 points on their home field? Yeah, I like it.
Hey, you're watching a lot of the line of scrimmage, and that's a place where we watched in practice, and I thought LSU's offensive line was having a lot of struggles, and that's why I was questioning the offensive line. And then a lot of folks are going to Twitter, showing some of the highlights of Bernard Gooden, showing some of the highlights of Jack Pyburn, going, well, this is why the offensive line was struggling in August. What did you see at the point of attack?
Yeah, just watched some cut-ups earlier this morning again for maybe the 4th time, and realized that, Patrick Payton, I mean, what a difference maker he is, along with the guys you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The fact that they're able to just kind of push Clemson around. I mean, Clemson under Dabo Swinney, to me, has always been more of a finesse offense, and that's not disrespectful. That's just kind of what they do. They get the ball out quickly. They got big playmakers, especially on the outside, and that's, outside of a reputable or a seasoned running back, you kind of felt like that's what Clemson had this year. And to just be on their back heels, being pushed off the line of scrimmage, blown off the line of scrimmage, which then allowed Harold Perkins to be Harold Perkins and basically hang out with Cade Klubnik almost on every snap.
I'm going to talk about this on my show tomorrow, but I want your thoughts on it here. Garrett Nussmeier is getting a lot of appreciation and praise for a game in which LSU scored 17 points, and he threw for like 230-something, where he was up over 350 most of last year. Why do you think that is?
Because I watched a pretty good diagnosis on just Garrett Nussmeier. It was the Sky Cam on just Garrett. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have watched it. I can't give credit because I'm old and I can't remember. But it was a great breakdown, and it included even the incompletions. And why I think he's getting love from all the people talking about quarterbacks this year is because of, even with the incompletions, and most of those incompletions were simply pretty good defensive plays by Clemson where they had good coverage, or the touchdown that was taken away that was an absolute dime dropped in a very small bucket, almost a golf hole. Let's just call it a hole on a green is where he dropped that football. But what he's reading, and that what was cool about watching the Sky Cam, were a couple of plays where he just put an absolute textbook lesson on how to attack a defense that plays a lot of zone coverage. There's a screen play where he faked the screen, I think, to the right, and he had the entire middle defense full speed going to the right, far boundary, wide side of the field. He turns back, drops an absolute beauty into the flat about, 10, 12 yards down the field with gaping holes across the middle. And that was all done by Garrett Nussmeier. They were reading him. The middle linebacker had his eyes on Garrett. Garrett looks right, pump fakes, and then just turns, and right there's the receiver. He puts a dime on it. There was another play where he went to the weak side, got everybody moving that way defensively, and then quickly turned and dropped one again where it was wide open spaces on this defense. So I think that's why. I think people are seeing that, we've all known he's had the ability to make all the throws, but now he's doing all the stuff that maybe you don't see in real time that is fooling defenses. And that's why I think he's getting so much praise, and deservedly so, even with not eye-popping numbers. But I think that's why people are now getting on the LSU train, is that Garrett Nussmeier doesn't have to throw for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns for this team to win. And, as much as I want to heap praise on Garrett Nussmeier, and I will, and I'll continue to do so, I just want to give credit to this offensive staff. I thought it was the most creative. The wrinkles that we saw within the passing game and the running game from Joe Sloan, tip of the cap. I mean, and again, some of it may be a lot like Coach Baker in that now you have some guys in a system, you can add some of those things. But I just thought the orbit motion, the use of Xavion Thomas, the little things I just talked about with Garrett Nussmeier and attacking zone defenses, I just thought was a masterclass. So, again, I think the offense, just watching even the plays that didn't hit big, that were, again, broken up by maybe a Clemson defender, I just think when you see that, you realize that was game number one. And for that matter, half number one, because I think in the second half, had he had the first half and the Tigers had the first half they had in the second half, that game wouldn't have been close, and he would have had bigger numbers. I think that's where the optimism come from.
I'm curious because Brian Kelly said in his press conference, or maybe it was a teleconference this week, that they had the analytics said to go for it on 4th and 5 from the 40-yard line with like 4.5 minutes to go and a 7-point lead. He decided to punt, I think, because he trusts his defense to not let Clemson go the length of the field, and they couldn't. I'm curious if you think that the entirety of how they coach football games, from the offensive play calling to decisions like that, are going to alter a little bit as opposed to the last 2 years because they can trust the defense. And maybe conservative's too strong a word, but do you think they'll coach cognizant of the fact that the defense might be really, really good and not have to force the issue as much, certainly 2 years ago and even last year?
Absolutely. I mean, we questioned it too. I mean, we talked about it on the air in real time that, wow, looks like what you want to do here is go for the points, and live to fight another day, get a little closer. And, again, he put the offense out there trying to go for it and would have had it minus a fumble. I get that. But, I mean, I had to ask myself after the fact, last year in that same situation, I know what the book tells you. I know what your football smarts tell you. But would you do that with a defense that had gaping holes and couldn't stop dual threat quarterbacks, when you're just trying to keep the game manageable going into halftime? So I really didn't question Coach Kelly. First of all, I'd never do that. But secondly, I kind of understood it because you can talk about how your defense is going to be better. You can look at all the things. You can break down the film from fall camp. But until you're under the lights against another opponent, a talented opponent on top of that, let's add, I think it took some time to go, can we trust these guys? Do we trust our defense that if we turn the ball over or we kick and we got to give it back to them and they start at their own 25, that they're not going to go anywhere? And suddenly the game get even bigger, the deficit get bigger. And then, of course, I think Coach Kelly, who was asked that point blank on Monday, answered it the way I thought he would answer it, which is we had a similar opportunity in the second half, and we said, you know what, we like our defense. We've seen them do it now. We haven't just talked about it. We haven't just done it in practice. We've done it against the number 4 team in the land in their building. So, yeah, from now on, I think 100% they're going to play the right numbers, and they're going to trust this defense.
Tonight, 7 o'clock, Brian Kelly Show from TJ Ribs. Stop on by there on Acadian if you're in town. If not, you can catch it on your LSU Sports Radio Network local affiliate, Tigers and Bulldogs, 6:30 on Saturday night from Tiger Stadium. Chris Blair will be on the call. He's with us on Thursdays. Thanks, Chris.
You got it. See you Saturday.
Very much looking forward to it. We'll be on the air 4:30 from Tiger One Village between the ramps to the Assembly Center. It'll be myself, Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite. So we'd love it if you're on campus. You stop on by and see us. It's going to be a warm one. That's always the case. This time we don't have to be warm and miserable because LSU's 0-1. We can be warm and really happy because LSU's 1-0. They'll welcome Louisiana Tech in on Saturday. When you go inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday, you'll hear Dixon McMakin, the new PA address voice of Tiger Stadium in the Assembly Center. We'll chat with him when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, it is storm season. Haven't had anything impact the Gulf Coast to this point. That's a really good thing. I hope it doesn't happen in 2025. But, living in this part of the world, It's an inevitability that eventually a storm will show back up. You want to make sure that your insurance program is ready to respond. Your business interruption limit, ready to respond. Your deductible is in the proper place. Your building valuations are good, so you're not paying co-insurance penalties if you have to collect on a claim. All these things are vitally important, and they don't show up on the premium line when it's renewal time. So if you're a business owner, you're a CFO, you're a risk manager, and you've been really married to premiums when renewing your insurance program, ask the folks at the Howard Insurance Group to just take a look and make sure that everything is where it needs to be. That's what they do at the Howard Insurance Group. It's not just property. Cyber policies, EPL policies, umbrella limits, workers' comp, whatever the case may be, they can help you out. They're an independent broker. They're contracted with dozens of markets, and they can make sure not only that you're in the proper place in terms of premium, but that your coverage is ready to roll in the event of a loss. That is a vital, vital point of buying insurance, and the Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carpenter's team, can help you out with it. It's HighlandIG.com. They're based right here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
If I could take you back in a time machine 19 years ago, two goofballs in a maroon SUV driving around the southeast of Knoxville, Tennessee, Gainesville, Florida, watching football, and told you those two guys, one of which would be the pre- and post-game show host on the LSU Sports Radio Network, and the other one would be the voice of Tiger Stadium, you probably wouldn't have believed that. But it did come true. That is Hunt Palmer and Dixon McMakin, a longtime friend of mine. Now LSU announces the public address voice of Tiger Stadium in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Dixon, good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Thursday. How are you, sir?
Hey, Hunt, great to be with you. I think you missed, Lexington, Memphis, Oxford, and Atlanta on that road trip in that maroon Tahoe, my friend.
I don't remember a lot of the Memphis stop, but that's your grandmother's fault, so we won't get into that. So let's talk about this. I mean, look, how did you get into public address? I know, Dan Bournet gave my commencement address at LSU. He's like, yeah, I just asked, and they said, sure, you can do that. I know you've done some softball, you've done some men's basketball, you've done some volleyball. How'd you get into it?
Yeah, so for LSU, I've been doing it now 5 years. First event I did was softball. I've done indoor volleyball, beach volleyball, men's basketball, women's basketball, soccer, coaches shows, spring games, gymnastics returns, a little bit of everything. Of course, in high school, I did it as well. And really going back to elementary school, Hunt, I was in all those Christmas plays we had to do here in Baton Rouge. They had singers. I'm not much of a singer, not much of a dancer. But I was the narrator, so just kind of been the reader, church lector my whole life, and very blessed that God gave me a loud, booming voice, and hope it'll bring a lot of victories to Tiger Stadium for LSU.
We like the sound of that. Look, I'm curious what the process was like. Dan Bournet stepped away last year and ultimately made the decision that he wasn't going to come back after a legendary run in both Tiger Stadium and the PMAC. So LSU's obviously got a search. You clearly were interested. You've done a little bit. So what was that process like that led to this?
Yeah, so last year Dan stepped away. Bill Frankhead did a great job at football. I did the entire basketball season in the PMAC, and then he officially came out earlier this year and said he wouldn't be back. And LSU put it online. We sent him a resume. We sent him a script. They invited whoever the finalists were up to Tiger Stadium on the mic, and we did it in front of a selection committee, waited about a week, and then heard that they've asked me to continue the phenomenal legacy of Dan Bournet to be the voice of Tiger Stadium and the voice of the PMAC for the foreseeable future as long as we can keep it going.
I'm curious what that audition's like. You're in Tiger Stadium. It's cavernous. It's massive. I was in it while it was empty before our pregame show last week. It's kind of an eerie place when it's empty, and then you've got this committee that's watching. What was that like in that room?
Yes, I'm blessed that I've done 2 spring games, so I've been on that mic before. Okay. So it wasn't the first time I'd been on that mic, but it was the first time talked into that mic and no one's there. Just a completely empty cathedral of college football. But it was neat to do it versus the script when I just read it at my house. I got my dogs and my wife in the room next door kind of making some noise. So you have to envision the field and where the players are. But when you're there in the stadium, announcing touchdowns and first downs and scores and the band playing, at least you can look at the field and have an idea. So it was a really cool moment. Just what an honor to be considered a finalist. If I didn't get it was truly an honor. 39 years old. And be able to do this for hopefully a generation to come.
So you're just 2 years older than me, but you've been going to that stadium your entire life, just like I have, and it's always sounded the same. It's always sounded like Dan Bournet, and I'm confident you could give the lines that Dan would always say, just like I can. That's just a natural thing sometimes as a broadcaster to copy things that you hear. Is your plan to kind of make it your own? Do you have some things that Dan did that you like and want to continue? I'm curious what your kind of personal touch on that kind of stuff is going to be.
Yeah, it was neat. Yesterday we went to lunch together over at Phil's Oyster Bar, and he had told me, about 40 years ago, him and Sid Crocker did the same thing. They went to lunch together, and they just kind of talked about, what do I do? What are you going to do? And really the message from Dan and my message for fans for definitely this first game in the first season is going to keep it very simple, not try too much, anything crazy. But, Dan, the chance of rain never came in about year 10. So if anyone's expecting me to come up with something great in year 1, they're going to be, I think, highly disappointed. But when it happens, if something ever does happen, people will know and it'll connect like Chance of Rain never did with him. And just excited for the opportunity to be up there with 102,320 of my closest friends.
I have to ask, are you going to do Chance of Rain Never? Because again, this is new for so many people that are my age. If you're our parents' age, you obviously heard the stadium before Dan Bournet, but that's just been kind of a part of game day to me.
Yeah, Hunt, I encourage, all the fans come out and find out. If it is said, it'll be said at approximately 6:28 p.m. I've gotten the script. I know where everything's written, so we all will find out together. It'll be a feel moment. The marketing staff has told me that there's a lot of stuff to be said between 6 o'clock and 6:30 before the game. They have a lot of things you got to read. So if it'll fit, it'll fit. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we shall see.
How do you expect the nerves to be on Saturday?
Little testy, but also I'm very grateful that I've been in that arena before. And, of course, you know me. I'm a family, LSU family through and through. I have 3 degrees from the school. Grew up in that stadium just like you did. And Deacon Dan is the man. He is fantastic. I've known him my whole life. Listened to him. Really listened to him a few more times in those early years of LSU football than I did watch the game. I always listened to him more a few times. And I'll be excited. But, yeah, there will be nerves. But first read is 47 minutes before kickoff. I get to welcome all the fans to Tiger Stadium. Once we get that first sentence out, it'll be smooth sailing from there, I think.
Everybody's going to be in a good mood. They're 1-0. I'm so fired up for you. Congratulations on a great honor. I'll come see you in the press box on Saturday, man.
Thanks, Hunt. Go Tigers.
Dixon McMakin, new public address voice of the Tiger Stadium and the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. As I mentioned, Dixon and I's family go way, way back to the 70s before Dixon and I were even around, and I spent a lot of time my college years with Dixon. He's a great friend. He's going to do an awesome job inside Tiger Stadium and did a great job in the PMAC last year. So fired up for him. I talked about this when Dan Bournet steps aside and before I knew Dixon was ever even in the running to be the next voice inside Tiger Stadium. It's going to be an adjustment for everybody. Some people probably pay attention more than others. That's just Dan's voice is burned into my brain because it's the only thing that stadium's ever really sounded like. Bill did a great job last year, and of course Patrick Wright handles the band portion of it. But I'm kind of a creature of routine and habit when it comes to games, even from the time like when I'm a kid to when you're a student to when I've been a fan. I've been in the pre and post game, been in the press box, like whatever the case may be. Like a lot of the things that are attached to LSU sports like mean a lot to me, and traditions mean a lot to me. You'll hear me him and Hall about the freaking uniforms all the time. And Dan Bournet's voice is a tradition at LSU for people that are my age. It's all we've ever known. So to me, it's like Saturday's going to be an adjustment for me to not hear Dan Bournet's voice over the PA, but so proud of and happy for Dixon that he's getting this opportunity, and he'll do an awesome job. He's going to do great work, and I'm fired up that like Saturday, just coincidentally, is going to be Meyer's first game in Tiger Stadium. Now he won't hear even the PA because he's 3.5 years old, and that'll be the last thing on his mind. There's ice cream involved, so that'll be top of mind at this point. But that's what Tiger Stadium's going to sound like to him. He's going to be going to games for the next 70 plus years, and for the foreseeable future, as Dixon said at the top there, like that's what Tiger Stadium's going to sound like, and that's a very, very cool thing to me that my son's going to have that memory and will have that sound of somebody that I've known for more than 20 years. So very, very cool deal. Appreciate Dixon for giving us a little bit of time, and best of luck to him on Saturday in his first game. And as I mentioned, he's going to have a pretty lenient audience at this point because everybody is in a good mood that the Tigers are in the top 5 and 1-0. So thanks to Dixon for a little bit of time. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sigera Farms. Take a time out, come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space is a big deal to a lot of people. And, some people have folks move into their home like I did back, I guess that was 5 years ago now, that Alyssa moved into the house that I owned and said, this closet situation is atrocious. I never thought twice about it. Well, we decided to move to fix it, but you don't have to move to fix it. If you love your location, love your home, love your interest rate, maybe more importantly, and you just want more closet space, David can come in and help you out with a custom closet that fits your exact specifications. Just go look at his awesome work at OneBathAndClosets.com. You can see that it looks gorgeous, it's functional, it's customized, and he's going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. If you think about a closet renovation, remodel, and you think, that's going to be not a great time for me to pay for that right now. Well, financing options are available. 18 months, 0%, same as cash. Just talk to him about it. Get that free consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com today. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sigera Farms.
Talking to my guy Sean Sigera earlier this morning. He, of course, of Sigera Farms, bringing our Thursday shows. So generally, the herd population of cattle in the United States about 38 million. That number's down closer to 28 million right now. Inventory is lowest since about 1950, and you've probably noticed that, considering that beef demand is at a high, that the prices have reflected that supply and demand discrepancy. That can hurt, obviously. Sigera Farms has not increased their prices. Sigera Farms has no intention of increasing their prices. So if you'd like to fix that cost, get some prime Angus beef in your freezer so that when you need ground beef for burgers, you got it. When you need ribeyes for the game, you got them. When you need fillets for steak night, you got them. Go to Sigera Farms. Every single cow on that pasture is a 3-year process that is going to yield incredibly consistent prime results. It's some of the finest beef in the country, and it's right here up the road, just outside of Baton Rouge. It's a different way to buy your beef. Control prices, you get the best of the best, and support a local farm right here at Sigera Farms, just outside Baton Rouge. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week, and I give you Sean's cell phone number each and every week because I want you to give him a call. I want you to go up to Sigera Farms. I want you to purchase side or whole cow and experience just how good Sigera Farms beef is. I mentioned in the first hour, we had Sigera Farms burgers on Sundays. My wife won't eat any other ones now. She absolutely loves them, and yours will too. Call Sean 225-719-1045 1723. 719-1723. Sigera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, Beck, we got some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Back in my tailgating days, Thursday was shopping day for the tailgate. Didn't want to do it on Friday because you want to get your weekend started, so Thursday was the day. If that's the case in your world and you're getting ready to tailgate all day long on Saturday, Flight by Yingling needs to be the beer you pick up. It's going to be in the 90s on Saturday. You want that light beer, but get one with all that great beer flavor. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. Roger Goodell made some comments on Wednesday on the Today Show when asked about the halftime show for the next Super Bowl. And, of course, many people are speculating now that perhaps Taylor Swift could be doing the halftime show after her engagement with Travis Kelce.
Wow.
And Roger Goodell was a little coy. He, of course, wasn't going to say yes or no, but he said it's a maybe, quote. Taylor Swift doing the halftime show. Take it or leave it.
It's a maybe. First of all, I'll take it. I think that would be a fine halftime show. She puts on one of the best shows in the world, and I think it would be a good show. That's kind of what we talked about last year. Is like whether or not you like the songs, to me, is relevant, but it's not the most important thing. I want to see a great show for the halftime show, and I didn't think last year was a great show. Taylor Swift would put on a great show. That's a weird answer, maybe.
Yeah.
I think you could do something in the neighborhood of, well, we haven't made any decisions quite yet, and when we do, we'll let you know. But a maybe makes me think there's a yes. So I think that's probably the case.
All right, next one here. Amari Cooper, wide receiver currently for the Raiders, he just told them that he is going to be retiring literally just days before the team are supposed to play, of course, on Sunday against the Patriots. Retiring 3 days before your game. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it. Whatever.
I'll take it.
They're going to be good anyway. Who cares? So you can retire.
Fantasy owners everywhere are not very happy right now.
If you were banking on Amari Cooper being your dude this year, you probably weren't going to be taking home the league title.
Probably not.
You're probably going to be doing the punishment that the league doles out for work.
Probably so. But, I mean, it's still unfortunate. I mean, you get a guy.
Alabama. Who cares?
Well, okay, we're talking about fantasy football, huh? I'm sure you've had plenty of Alabama players in your fantasy
See
teams.
if I have one this year. Josh Jacobs, I have.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a Bama player. Hope he has a monster year. Roll Tide.
Yeah, oh wow, okay. What a change of team
Devontae Smith I have tonight, so I have two in my starting lineup currently. Any on the bench? No, but I got two, so there you go. Got Tank Bigsby, War Eagle. He's not starting. Brock Bowers. It's an SEC boy. Baker Mayfield. Is that an SEC boy? What do we say?
I guess so. Not really, but all right. Last one. The Fox Sports writer Ralph Vacciano has released his Week 1 power rankings, and number 32, the New Orleans Saints, the number 32 team in the league. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave it.
They're not the worst.
Someone will be worse.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody worse.
Someone will be worse. I don't know who. It's a bummer, man. I don't like talking about it. I wish they were better than they are, but it's what it is. Maybe they get a great pick next year, but it's just not.
Maybe so.
It's going to be tough. I still trust the Who Dat Nation's going to get up pretty early on Sunday and crack a cold pop and get ready for some football. That's just the way that it's got to be. And on a September Sunday, we can't be throwing in the towel. Hopefully
no, it's too early.
Beat the Cardinals.
Now, are there going to be some paper bags on the first week? I will be interested to see.
I don't think so.
There will be very soon, though, I'm sure.
Just side note, I watched the first episode of the Cowboys Netflix documentary last night. I think I'm going to like it.
Really?
I will probably watch Eagles Cowboys. I just saw that it's on NBC too. It's not just on Peacock. Is what it said on my app.
All right.
So I might watch a little bit. The Peacock was going to be tough for me to get to. I may not have done that. On NBC, I can get to that. But the Cowboys doc, if I don't watch the Cowboys Eagles tonight, I will watch that. I think it's going to be good. I watched the first episode. The PR performance Jerry Jones put on.
Oh, he knows how to do it.
In the 72 hours where he bought the team was atrocious. Like, Tom Landry is the coach of the team. He flies Jimmy Johnson to Dallas and goes out to eat with them, like, right there. And the people out were like, well, you're clearly hiring Jimmy Johnson to be the coach. Like, you're going to fire Tom Landry. And then he announced they were hiring Jimmy Johnson without Jimmy Johnson at the press conference. He was back in Miami. And then he announced him as the head coach without Jimmy. It was just like things that would never happen now, but were happening in 1989 or whenever it was. We just got introduced to Michael Irvin, who I think is going to have a nice, interesting run here with the White House and some other white things that he was involved in. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to keep you up to date on the Cowboys doc. That's it for us. You missed any of the show, catch it on demand. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. Have a safe and fun Thursday. We'll be back for a Football Friday edition tomorrow, getting you ready for a couple games on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater.